Morning, folks. I'm Dave Canterbury with Self-Reliance Outfitters in the Pathfinder School. And what I thought I'd do today is talk to you a little bit about comprehensive cook kits. So when I first started designing cookware for the outdoors, I looked at all of the old time cook sets that were available from, the 1890s through the 1950s, 60s time frame, from scout kits to Palco patrol kits to U.S. Forest Service kits. All of those nesting cook sets by Abercrombie and Fitch, and all those types of things are what I looked at when I was building this kit, because I believe that everything should be compact enough that you can put it into one container and carry it with you and have everything that you need. And so that's where nesting cook sets come in. So whenever you design something, if you don't design that nestability into the product in your mind, then you're already limiting the potential for a product. A good example of that would be the folding handle skillet. Okay, when we developed this folding handle skillet, this is the stainless steel version. The handle folds underneath the skillet, not over the top. If it folds over the top and into the skillet, there's no way to nest anything in there. You've just limited the ability of that skillet to nest 100% with anything else. As it stands now, you can nest lots of things inside here. You can put a 3-quart bush pot inside here and everything that goes inside of it, right? So now you've increased the ability to nest that cook set and make it more viable as a compact unit to carry with you. And if you look at the old Forest Service cook sets and things like that, that had actual folding handle steel skillets, they folded underneath. If you look at most of the ones that were available on Abercrombie and Fitch and different catalogs of outfitters back in the 1900s, they handles folded underneath the skillet for a reason, so that they were nestable, okay? So I want to show you how you can nest some of this stuff together. We're going to start with kind of smaller kits and work our way up. What I'm not going to cover is I'm not going to cover the bottle and cup set or the canteen set, because those kind of speak for themselves and they're standalone products. They have stoves that come with them for biofuel, fuel tabs, or alcohol stoves underneath them. They have a cup and they have a bottle. So basically you have a 3-component cook set there. It's kind of standalone. If you put it in a kit, in a bottle bag or something like that, you can put utensils in there. You can put some snacks in there, some coffees, things like that, and you're ready to go for a quick snack on the trail. What we're going to start with is something like the 1-quart bush pot, which is our smallest bush pot, and kind of work our way up talking about kits within that realm. Now, I won't go through here every time and say, this is available on our website, this is available on our website, this is available on our website, because that's going to get very monotonous, okay? Understand that most of this stuff is available at selfrelianceoutfitters.com. If it's not, I'll tell you it's not, and I'll try to put an Amazon link to my Amazon store, because most of it can be found on Amazon, if not in our store, all right? So stay with me, we'll get started. Okay, so let's start with a standalone type cook kit, all right? The PF M40. This is basically modeled after the Swedish mess kit, and it is a standalone kit. It's a kit that you carry it by itself in a bag, and it is your cook kit. I've got a set of utensils in there that are actual surplus from Sweden, and you've got a whole front pouch here that you can carry coffee, fire starters, those type of things in. You can store things inside the cook kit if you want to, like kooksas and other apparatus. You can have the windscreen on here or not have the windscreen, use an alcohol stove with it. There's lots of adaptability with a cook kit like this. Now, if you're looking for a standalone cook set, the PFM40 is probably a great kit. Obviously, it has the D-ring adapters on it here that were already on that kit to put a stick in there. That's where we got the idea to put them on our canteen cup with the L bracket handle, was from this setup. You have a large pot with a large bail and a hook, okay? And this hook can be used in conjunction with this stick out right here and jammed into this slot to give you a way to pour that thing without having to grab onto it when it's in the fire. It kind of gives you a pouring handle that you grab and gives you control, all right? The PFM40 kit is one of those kits that you can put a lot of stuff inside of if you want to, from alcohol stoves to fuel to kooksas to foods and things like that, to store them for the trail. And then it's easy enough just to put the lid on it, lock it down, drop the bail over the top, kind of take this hook and move it out of the way, just kind of slide it around a little bit and lock it down, and it's out of the way, okay? And then you can put that whole cook set inside this bag, this Molly bag, with your utensils. And then whatever else you want, you've got room at the top even for more food if you wanted to put it in there. And you have a whole pocket in the front that you can store stuff in. That MOLLE bag, again, was developed to be adaptable for lots of things, for lots of different kit setups to make it easy for you to build onto. It's got some MOLLE on it, things like that. It's got a shoulder strap. It's got MOLLE in the back. It's got a handle on the top for carrying it. So we use this bag as a basis for lots of kits, and that's why this bag was developed, and it fits that PFM 40 perfect. Now, while we're on this bag and we're talking about kind of standalone things, the 1-quart bush pot is good in this bag as well. And the way I've got this set up right now, you can see there's lots of room inside here to put more things, okay? But I have a long-handled spoon in here. I have the 1-quart bush pot in here with the lid in the bottom. I have the alcohol stove here sitting inside the bush pot. Again, not necessarily that it's in there, but if you're going to carry the alcohol stove, it's easy to carry it inside there in a plastic bag, just in case you were to get some leakage or something like that. And I have the PFM 34 officer's flask and cup in there. So with that, you have a pretty nice little cook set. Other than having some type of skillet, you have the ability to cook in a pot to warm up water. You have the ability to carry some type of liquid with you, as well as a cup for drinking out of, and put some kind of utensil in there. And then you've got the whole front of this thing, again, for spare fuel, for a windscreen if you're carrying an alcohol stove. If you're not carrying an alcohol stove, you could put other things in there as well. One thing that works really well with this 1-quart bush pot is that you can take our new stove. Let me grab a hold of that bad boy out of my food bag here real fast. Our new stove that's in the black plastic case. If you take it out of the case, it fits perfect in the bottom of that bush pot. And you can put a can of fuel on top of that as well and store it like that. You can put a small can of fuel in there, put that in the bottom. Let me see if I can find a can of fuel here real quick. There we go. Now you can take the lid again and put it on the bottom. Put the bush pot down inside. Put the PFM 34 in there, and you've got this. And now you've still got some room in here to put some things. If you wanted to put something else in there, you could do it. And you've got the whole front of this now, instead of having to carry extra fuel in a windscreen, because you don't need a windscreen for this new stove, you could put coffees and things like that in there, fire starting implements, whatever you want to do, to make another separate, small, standalone style cook set, if that's what you wanted to do for the trail. So all of this stuff was made to be nestable and compact so that you could carry it different ways to make it work best for you. We also have a 1-quart bush pot bag in Ripstop canvas, wax canvas, and we also have this in Dyneema. So if you're trying to lighten up your load, or whatever the case may be, you can use Dyneema, or you can use this canvas, and it's got a couple slots in it built in that you can put utensils in, and your 1-quart bush pot fits in there with plenty of room for a tank of fuel on the top. So if you wanted to carry that nested stove inside there with a can of fuel on top and anything else that you might want in your utensils and close that up, then you've got a small 1-quart bag that you can carry inside of a backpack to give yourself a nested cook set for one person very easily. Now, while we're talking about the 1-quart kits, and again, this nests right in this 1-quart bag, okay? This is one of my 1-quart cook set kits. You've got a can of fuel on the top. Inside the kit, you have a couple packs of coffee for the trail. You have the old pack stove from our website. There's a Luxada, or I'm sorry, I think it's a BRS lantern that goes right on top of the stove to make a lantern. You have a folding set of utensils in this one, right, that can come apart to give you a knife, spoon, and fork, just like that, or nest together, a Bic lighter, and a scraper. So what that gives you, it gives you a nested set that you can cook with that's based around the old pack stove. So again, you're basing these kits on what you have available. I bought the lantern, again, off Amazon. There'll be a link in my description box. Easy enough. I've got a lighter in there for the stove or the lantern, set off to the side, and all of that nests really well inside the 1-quart bush pot. And then you can put your fuel on top and store that in a 1-quart bag. Okay, that covers 1-quart bush pots. Now let's talk a little bit about the 2-quart bush pot. And we've got a 2-quart bush pot bag here. And we'll talk about how I set that up as a kit and how that differs a little bit and gives you a little bit more versatility than a smaller kit by sizing it up a little bit. So, first of all, this plate, the Pathfinder plate, fits perfectly in the bottom of this 2-quart bush pot bag. And the skillet will nest, and the bush pot will nest inside of that, okay? So you have a plate. If you buy a set of these grabbers from Amazon, you also have a small skillet if you need one, all right? And it's just a simple add to grab something like that off Amazon and make a skillet holder so that you've got a handle if you need it for a small stainless steel skillet, okay? And it works fine that way. Now, so that would be sitting in there like that. Now, the other things with this 2-quart bush pot, all right? Obviously, you can put a rack inside this bush pot to create a small reflector-type oven from heat moving around inside this while sitting in front of a bed of coals or in front of a hot fire. And you can bake in this. This is a baking sheet that's made out of stainless steel. And it slides in the same way so that you can make cookies or pizza or any kind of dough that might drip through the rack won't drip through this. And I got this idea from a guy at Smoky Mountain Knife Works dealer days 2 years ago or last year and never messed with it too much other than making one for myself. But we now have these being made for the bush pot. We'll have them on our website fairly soon. I say fairly soon, probably going to be more like a couple, 3-4 months. But they are being manufactured for this 2-quart bush pot. So you have a baking sheet or you have a baking rack. And you also have a skillet now that you can use. That gives you a little more versatility. Now, one other thing I want to show you with this, because you can put lots of things inside this, you could put at least one bowl in there if you wanted to, easy enough. And you could put a cup in there if you wanted to, easy enough. And again, this cup is not one that we saw on our website. It's one that I found at an antique mall somewhere. It's just a stainless steel coffee mug. But it sits down inside there pretty well. And the creme de la creme here with this is the Eagle pot, the Eagle kettle, okay, nests right on top of it, just like that. It nests in the 2-quart bush pot like it was made for it, just perfect, okay? Comes out very, very easily, slides right out. And so now you have, with a cook set like that, you have the ability to have a skillet if you need it. You've got baking racks. You have a cup. You have a standalone bowl to eat out of. You have a kettle and a pot. So now you've got skillet, kettle, pot, all nested into one small cook set so that when you put this stuff in the bag and nest it together, let's just drop it all in there real fast so you can see what it looks like in that bag. And again, you still got some room. If you want to put some utensils in there, or whatever the case may be, you've got room to do that easy enough. I usually drop these racks right down the side, just like that, with that flange facing in. You can put a couple utensils in there if you want to, like the folding tongs. The folding spatula fits in there just fine. In the side, because it's got those side compartments as well. We didn't put the lid in there. We should have put the lid in there before we put the 2-quart in there, so we'll put the lid in now. And it nests in the bottom of the skillet real well like that. Sorry about that, guys. Got ahead of myself a little bit there. Okay. So there's that. And then the Eagle pot, or Eagle kettle again, I said, nests right on top of that. Just like that. Cinch it up. And now I have pretty much a very inclusive cook set with a skillet, a kettle, and a pot, a plate and a bowl, and utensils in this small bag. And now I can feed more than one person or one person very, very comfortably in lots of different ways. We forgot to drop our grabbers in there. They'll slide down right beside those tongs in one of those slots, just like that. And then we're good, okay? Even with something like this, if I wanted to, I could. I've got room in the bag. I could drop a tripod trammel system in there. So I could cook over a tripod if I wanted to with that pot to make a stew or something like that. That's easy enough done. All right, So that's a really simple kit. It's one that I really like. It works really well, and it's easily nestable, all right? And that's the key. Everything nests into a small space, so we've got everything we need at hand, all right? And that's what I really like. Now, we'll take some of this apart. We're gonna use another cook set. And some of it I'm going to leave, all right? Fold these legs up. Get this Eagle kettle lid on. Throw it in here. You could also put your alcohol stove in here if you wanted to. And some fuel. There's lots of different ways you could set this kit up. It really kind of depends on what your preference is, okay? Okay, so that gives us a pretty good look at smaller cook sets. Now, let's take a look at some large nested cook sets and how we can put all of this together into the Woodland Chef Kit bag and eventually into a 5-gallon bucket that we can wash the dishes in after the fact. And we have an all-inclusive kit for car camping, trail camping, ATV, side-by-side, POV, all those types of things that we may use on the trail that we can carry larger kits. A canoe, for instance. This is the perfect option for that. And you can put them all in a 5-gallon bucket, or you could store it in a dry bag, and you could wash in a dry bag and keep everything safe in a canoe or something like that if you needed to. So it's a very easy system to manipulate, but again, it's because it all nests together that it works so well. So let's talk about that. Okay, so the basis for this kit, we're gonna call this a 2-man kit for the time being because of the amount of stuff we have in it. We have 2 plates, 2 bowls, 2 cups. So we're gonna call it a 2-man kit. And we'll put 2 sets of silverware in there in the end as well, all right? Now, this is based around a 3-quart bush pot and a set of skillets, okay? And I say a set, I mean the carbon steel skillet and a stainless steel skillet because one nests inside the other, all right? Again, that handle folding underneath is what allows that to happen. And then your 3-quart bush pot will nest inside of all of that, just like this in the bag, all right? Very, very conducive for making a larger cook set. Now, what I do is I start from the bottom of the bag, and we'll talk about it as we kind of go here, all right? So one of the things that I carry with me, and I've got a few of these on my Etsy store, Vintage Camp and Trail, if you go look. This is a grater that was made back in probably the 1940s, something like that. And it's got a slicer, it's got different size graters on it. And you put this on top of something like a bush pot. And you grate your cheese or your vegetables into that when you're cooking, or slice your potatoes into it if you're making fried potatoes, and it works really good. So I keep that in the very bottom of this bag, okay? Now, we also have our skillet lid. And we only carry one because it works for this skillet, and it fits fairly well on this skillet. It's not a perfect fit, but it's definitely not a bad fit. It's not coming off, okay? It sits in the recess. It just doesn't sit all the way down. That's the reason I didn't make a lid for this skillet, really, is because the 8-inch lid fits it good enough for sure. And because it's already a domed lid, I can use this kind of like a Dutch oven. And I've used it for that countless times, especially with a rack inside. We'll talk about that in a minute. So the next thing we're going to throw in this kit is going to be our 3-quart bush pot lid at the bottom with our skillet lid on top of that. That takes care of all of our lids, just like that, okay? Now, we have some racks here. We have our baking rack for the 2-quart. We have a baking rack for the 3-quart and an open rack for the 2-quart. And we have our skillet brazier. The brazier does not fit real well in this carbon steel skillet, okay? It will sit in there. You can cook on top of it. It will work. But it's a better fit and made for the 8-inch stainless steel skillet. That's why I carry it, all right? So I've got it with that skillet. Now, I put those racks in the bottom, and I put the brazier on top. So again, I'm back to a flat surface on the inside of the bag. And then the skillets go in. So now I'm gonna nest the 8-inch stainless steel skillet, the 8-inch carbon steel skillet. And we're about to right here on the bag, okay? We have a 3-quart bush pot, and we have a 2-quart bush pot. We're getting into lots and lots of versatility for cooking now, all right? Our plates nest in our 3-quart bush pot. We put our 2-quart bush pot in. You can see I put an S-hook on this. It's just a little mod I've done myself if I want to hang that off a tripod really easy, I've got a hook on there already. It's just a metal S hook I made in my shop, but it's a great mod to a 2-quart bush pot, okay? And I usually keep this bush pot in my 2-quart kit, but I'm mixing and matching things right now to show you how this works, so we'll fix it later. Then we put our lid in, nesting on the plate, and we put our 2-quart bush pot in after that, so we have a recess to put some things into, all right? Now, I have 2 bowls and 2 cups. And they all nest inside just like that, very, very easily. Now I can put peripheral items in here that I want to carry that I can't stick on the sides. What I generally do with a bigger cook set is I carry bigger utensils. So I've got a set of metal utensils here, a spoon and a spatula, right off Amazon, and they slide down inside very easily on the side of this thing when it's all said and done. Again, you don't have to worry about metal utensils with stainless steel, obviously, and you don't have to worry about it with our carbon steel skillet because it is case hardened. It's not going to scratch, okay? You'll be good with that. Now, if you want to nest some spice containers in there, you're better off doing that on the bowl. All right, just like that, and turning this upside down inside, just like this. You're kind of encompassing those. So you've got this action going on, okay? And now, you're ready to put this in the bag. So you take your 3-quart and drop it down inside here. And it's a tight fit for sure. But you want it to be a fairly tight fit. You don't want things all loose in there and rattling around. Okay? And you still got plenty of room in the top of this. Now, what I'll generally do is, anything else that I'm going to put in here peripherally, like my utensils, I'll stick them in now. Again, you've got 2 slots in this thing, just like you do the other bags. To slide those utensils down inside of, just like that. If I want a set of tongs, I'll just slide them in on the pot itself, just like that. Nest it on the side of the pot. I've got my tripod kit. I can drop that in the top. I have, if I really want to get fancy, I throw a pastry cutter in there. If I'm going to be carrying a cook kit like this size, I generally will carry a Victorinox folding paring knife. Just drop it down in the bag. I've got a scrub brush here for cleaning pots and pans with if I need to. I'll throw that in there. And then pretty much any other little things I want to throw in there. If I want to throw some silverware in there, it's easy to do that. I want to throw a meat thermometer in there, it's easy to do that. And then I'll generally take a stainless steel bowl that I just bought from Walmart or Amazon. That's the same size diameter as this for a mixing bowl. And Kevin Baxter's got that right now from HangCon. But it sits right on top of this, and then this closes down over top of it so that bowl sits on top, and it kind of protects everything inside. And you've got a nested cook set that now you can put in a 5-gallon bucket easy enough, or a dry bag or whatever you want to put it in, just like that, with plenty of room left in there for other things. So now we'll talk about the other things, okay? Now, a couple other things. Except these are little peripheral things for other cook sets, okay? Let's talk about, obviously we have skillet bags. So you can put your skillets just in a bag and carry them from Badger Claw Leatherworks. We also have one from Tack Survival. One for the 8-inch. This one is big enough for the 8-inch or the 10-inch, but both skillets will fit in this. If you nest the 2 8-inches together, they'll both fit in here with a spatula and a set of tongs to give you a skillet kit, if that's what you want to carry, all right? We have a rack bag. Now this rack bag can sit right down inside that 5-gallon bucket. And if you wanted to forego taking all those other racks with you and just take this rack bag, then you basically have the same kit where you have the 1-quart bush pot rack, the 2-quart bush pot rack, and all these racks will work with the swing arm cook set and the 21st century long hunter squirrel cooker as well, okay? The way this kit comes now is it comes with 2 of these bottle hangers so that you can use them in conjunction with this kit to hang meat on a galley pole over the fire very easily. You can also use these, obviously, for hanging your bottles and things like that over the fire, if that's what you choose to do. And we also have these newly developed legs that can also go in that bag so that you have another way of cooking over the fire if you choose to do that. And now you can put all of these inside. These legs will be on our website next week. We had a problem with the Postal Service. We got it squared away now. Now, if you decide to do this, you have all the rack cooking implements you need in one bag, and it just adds extensively to this outdoor cook kit so that you can cook over fire, bake, and all those types of things if you want to, or cook meat on a grill as well. All right, the last thing I want to show you is this cook rack. And this is a large campsite cook rack that's great if you are carrying this in a vehicle. It's got folding legs on it. It's large enough for a 10-inch skillet or a 3-quart bush pot. It gives you a good, stable, heavy-duty grill that you can put over a campfire to either cook on open fire with steaks, things like that, or to, again, put your bush pots and skillet on top of so you're not filling with them in the coals if you don't want to. It's fairly heavy because it's made out of stainless steel. It folds up nice and flat. It has a case it comes in, and it works really, really well if you're going to be at a campsite for a few days and you have a large cook set and several people with you. All right, guys, that touches on lots and lots of ways that you can nest these cook sets together in different configurations with different bags and different pouches to make something that works for you. And that's what's important, because every cook set's never going to be the same. People like to use things in different ways, in different fashion, like to cook different foods on the trail. So what I've tried to do is I've tried to put things together so that you can easily nest multiple pieces of kit into a cook set that you enjoy on the trail. All right, guys, listen, I appreciate you joining me for this video. I thank you for your views. I thank you for your support. I thank you for everything you do for our school, for our family, and for our business, for all of our sponsors, instructors, affiliates, and friends. I'll be back to another video as soon as I can. And like I said, anything here that's not at selfrelianceoutfitters.com, I'll try to put a link to my Amazon store in the description box and make sure that they're there for purchase for you, okay? I appreciate it, guys. I'll see you on the next video. Thanks.